This week, NBC 12 taking time to reflect on the life and legacy of an icon who paved the way for civil rights in America. Wednesday marks 50 years since the assassination of Dr. King. As events are taking place nationwide to remember him, NBC 12 is taking a look at his local impact and the connections that King formed here in the Richmond area. Brent Solomon joining us now with more. And Brent, you spoke with a woman who actually, she opened up her door to King back in the 60s?
She sure did. She and so many pioneers, Kurt, who fought for freedom, are taking a moment to pause this week. Many just can't believe it's been 5 decades.
A man dies when he refuses to take a stand for that which is true.
The mover and shaker who dreamed of a brighter America.
We couldn't go to school with the white children, and we didn't have a black high school.
Captured Jenny Shaw of Richmond. Now 97 years old, she admits she never fought the system.
You see, all along, I'd be willing to sit in the back of the bus. All along, people would sit and be handed a sandwich out of a window instead of being able to go in the store.
She would soon learn of someone who would, and who would have thought that person would show up to her very doorstep.
They met in my dining room.
Right here?
Yes.
On Haynes Avenue in Richmond's North Side. King was here for a conference at First African Baptist back in 1963. Shaw lived across the street.
White T. Walker, his main man, all of them was here. And they sat around my table.
And it captured the interest of Ben Ragsdale, then a college student at Randolph-Macon. A white man bold enough to speak against hate.
You would be shunned. You would be told you were crazy. You would say, people would say your parents, I'm sure, are ashamed of you.
He did it anyway, marching with Dr. King twice. But to this day, he regrets one of their conversations.
He asked me if he thought he could come out and speak at Randolph-Macon College. I told him, I'm afraid, Dr. King, that wouldn't be possible. We had been working to integrate that school. I knew how rigid the president was. And I wish now, looking back, that I had said, Dr. King, let me take that request to the president of Randolph-Macon.
Yet he continued to follow the icon until...
Good evening. Dr. Martin Luther King, the apostle of nonviolence in the civil rights movement, has been shot to death in Memphis, Tennessee.
It was a sad moment.
Especially since both, a white man and a black woman, not only supported the movement, they played a role in it.
50 years later is not just how far we've come, but how vulnerable we are, how our rights are still at risk. If you see injustice, don't be afraid to step out in front and say something and do something and work with others who feel the same way you do.
Because you never know, you could be opening your door to a force that would one day change the world.
It's just almost unbelievable what he did. What he did, he gave his life. That's what it amounted to.
Well, right after news hit of King's assassination, Ragsdale says he went to visit with black leaders in his hometown of Waverly who, like himself, were left devastated. He tells me, quote, "We cried together." On your side, Brent Solomon, NBC 12.
Moving story. Thank you, Brent. There are events across the country to remember Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. 50 years after his assassination. We'll bring you live coverage all day Wednesday here on NBC 12.